Before we start, take a moment and look around at this room. Look around right now. It's not a joke, it's not a test. Just look around. Look at the walls, the ceiling, the light, the sound. How do you feel right now? Focused, relaxed, stressed, or energized? Let me ask you another question. Have you ever noticed that in some rooms you just can't concentrate? Like trying to relax in a doctor's waiting room that feels like a prison cell? You know what I mean, right? But seriously, isn't it strange? We spend 90% of our lives inside buildings, but we almost never ask ourselves, how do I feel in this room? The truth is, architecture is not neutral. It affects us, sometimes in ways we don't even notice. And here's the funny part. I studied architecture myself, and for a long time, I didn't ask the question either. It only became real for me 2 years ago after a life-changing incident. I spent 4 weeks in hospital and 5 weeks in rehab due to a serious accident. And in hospital, I stared at this blank white wall every day. I was completely isolated. And there was a helicopter landing pad right next to my window. What is great when you're trying to sleep and to recover. So I felt trapped, disconnected, isolated. My body was supposed to heal, but my mind was under constant stress. Rehab, on the other hand, was completely different. There was a forest outside I saw through the window. And every morning, we had a walk through the woods. And the best thing, no helicopters at all. So it was the first time I felt grounded, safe, and connected. My body was supposed to heal, and this time, it did. So, same person, same body, but completely different environment. And as an architect, I realized space can work for us or against us. In fact, the first strong evidence came in the 1980s, so more than 40 years ago. And since then, study after study has shown that architecture in space affects how our body works, how we feel, and even how we think. So in other words, space talks directly to our nervous system. But let's make a short test to prove that. Now it's a real test. Think of a cold, empty, narrow corridor with buzzing neon lights on the ceiling. How do we feel right now? Maybe like a guest in a horror movie? And now think of a warm, cozy room with soft edges, warm light, view to nature, birds are singing somewhere. How do you feel right now? So hopefully most of you feel better in the second room than in the corridor. But that's just one example. And since the beginning of this year, I read almost 100 papers in neuroarchitecture. And while reading all these papers, I noticed something interesting. Because almost all of them measure the impact on the human being with 2D pictures and virtual reality. And almost all of them ended with the same line saying something like, yeah, but it would be great if someone could build a real prototype in 3D, full scale, so we can finally experience it for real. And I thought to myself, yeah, maybe someone should do that. Maybe someone should build this prototype. And from that moment, building the prototype became my mission. To build a real space based on the latest researches in neuroarchitecture, with one clear goal: to harmonize with the human body and nervous system. And here's the first picture of the design, created with AI based on science. It's round, because researchers showed that round or soft curved forms helps us to calm down. It has a high ceiling with a window on top. Because we found out this gives us a sense of freedom on the one hand and a sense of safety on the other hand. It only uses natural materials like wood, stone, or clay. And it has a direct connection to nature through view, air, light, and sound. But in a way, this prototype is nothing new. For thousands of years, people built like that. Round-shaped, uses natural materials, connection to nature. Think of a Mongolian yurt, for example. So this prototype is old wisdom confirmed by science. But so far, it only exists in design, not yet built. But my next step is clear, to turn this design into reality. And by turning reality, we shape the future. By going back to the origins, by going back to the core. So, if there's one sentence to remember from my talk, let it be this one. Less is core. When I started with my talk, I asked you, how do you feel in this room? But I want you to leave with a bigger question. How do you want to feel in the rooms of your future? I've already found my answer. For me, this is more than a project. It's a movement that starts with awareness and continues with action. And hopefully, your journey to find your answer starts today. Thank you.